Hey Earthlings.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Today, we want to talk about how the school system has totally paralyzed us, screwed us over. So, we're going to share with you 8 things that the school system really taught you.
And how those things are related to blocking our capacity to be fully ourselves, blocking our capacity from manifesting our intention, our mission here on earth.
So, to know if this video is for you, if this might be helpful for you, you may answer the questions. Do you ever feel paralyzed in your life? Like stuck, you don't know in which way to move? Do you feel like, are you really, fulfilled? Are you really creating the reality you want to live in?
Are you doing things that you don't really like to do just to have an end, just to have a goal, just to achieve something? If you're doing something that you're not really enjoying, that could be a trace of what the school system implanted in you.
Yes, we have all who've been through a state school system. We are programmed, deeply programmed.
Yeah, no matter if you were one of the best school in the world like Finland or one of the worst school in the world like Syria,
yeah,
you're screwed over.
And we're going to share with you now 8 things that the school system actually really taught you. Number 1. If we follow our inspiration and impulses, we will be punished.
Yeah.
At school, we are taught that we have to sit still, hours on end. And, if a little kid sees a butterfly over there, it can't just run and go look at the butterfly.
Yeah, I remember when it was start snowing, we would jump out of the window and say, it's snowing. So when the teacher would come so angry, it would be like, stay at your seat, don't move. Blah.
Yeah.
It's like really traumatizing.
Right, so we learned to suppress our natural impulses and inspirations. Maybe I feel I have a thought and I want to share it with my friend, and I get punished for talking.
Yeah.
So over the years, we learned to suppress those natural things, and that's why it's so difficult for us as adults to act on our inspiration. We're always tense and holding back, We're not natural, we're not flowing, because the school system teaches us that you cannot, it's wrong, you will be punished.
Yeah. Number 2, we always do what authority told us. Trusting authority, trusting government, all came from this origin, school. It teaches us how to obey. If you are disobedient, you've been labeled as a bad kid and you will be punished.
Yes. And you're not meant to ask why. Kids naturally ask always, why do I need to learn this? And half of the time they don't receive an answer. It's just because they tell you to do it.
Because somebody smarter than you bought this education system for you and you have to agree to it. You have no chance to change it, nothing. And many times it doesn't make sense. Still until this moment, I learned so much things in the school. I never used it in my life.
So school kills inner authority and teaches you that authority is outside of yourself.
Yeah.
But actually, the truth of the matter is that we all have inner authority, which tells us what is right for us, what is integrity, what we need to do, what we should not do. And this comes from within. But we are taught to disconnect from this so much that we can't hear this inner voice anymore. And we are looking desperately, listening to the authority in the outside, outside.
And this is why many people who've been for so long in the education system, like studying high level of like anything in the school system, are the most obedient in this situation that we are in. And they can't widen their view to see what's the big picture. And remember to stay disobedient, guys.
Number 3, you are powerless to change your reality. Because as a child, you literally were. In most cases, maybe you didn't want to go to school, but you were forced.
Yeah.
Maybe you had bullies as your classmates, and you couldn't just leave. You were forced to stay with those people years on end.
Yeah.
Maybe your teacher was a sadistic dick, and you just couldn't walk away.
Yeah.
Like we couldn't choose self-love. We're forced to stay in an environment, and we learned that we can't change it. We can't change our environment.
Yeah. So what we manifest in the future is something that outside is creating for us, and this is why many people are not able to connect to their free will. Many people, they don't believe even that they have free will, actually.
Or that they can change their circumstances. And this is why people stay in abusive environments, such as
relationship or normal work or work, like...
Your boss is a d***, and you don't realize that you have the power to leave. You know, because we learned over the years that I don't have power.
Number 4, obedience is rewarded by love and approval, whether it's from your parents or school, and majority from school. And your parents learn this behavior from school system actually. So that looks like, for example, if you study really hard and get a high grades, you would be like the most loved child in the school by the teacher, or your parents will reward you for whatever tasks you do for them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just getting the grading system is a proof
Yeah.
of this. You know, you just learn that the more you obey, the better you do what you're told. And it's not even about being creative. It's not about your own intelligence even. It's about doing what you're told, memorizing what you're told, and you get the highest grade. And then you might even receive, you know, like a, how do you call it? Like a stipend, like a money rewards.
Yeah,
Or your parents will be so happy with you.
yeah, they
you
will
know.
show off in front of all their friends
Yeah.
and friends.
So obedience equals love and appreciation.
We see this so much in the system nowadays. Like, look how much there's obedience for things that overcross our boundaries. And this is a result of this education system. And if you go more like to the countryside where people are not so much into the school system, you don't see that level of obedience actually the same way you see in educated society.
Yeah, and you know, there is that fear that if I don't do what they tell me, I will lose love. I will lose the
Approval.
belonging.
Yeah.
They will disapprove of me. That's the fear. And we learned that at school, of course. But people who, you know, like maybe we're always the rebels at school, maybe they don't carry that same thing because they've always been the outcast, you know,
Yeah,
or they
as
dropped
scapegoats.
out. Number 5, your creativity and joy have no value whatsoever.
Especially in schools like where I grew up, zero value for creativity and anything out of the box.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes they allow you to be a little bit creative, but within the box. Like, don't get too creative. Stay within the, you know, the limited rules, because if you get too creative, now you're out. You're out of control, right? If your joy was the main value for society, they would help us to explore what brings us the most amount of joy instead of forcing us to sit hours on end doing boring stuff, memorizing boring stuff.
Yeah.
That kills our spark and spirit.
For an exam that's worth nothing.
Yeah. So imagine if your joy was the guidance, where the school would teach us, okay, what makes you joyful? I don't know, building something. Okay, let's gear you towards that. And then you get more and more into that. And when you get excited about something else, okay, now art makes me joyful. But it's not like that. We are taught that our joy has no value.
Yeah, most of the time everything is planned already, and you have to be in these classes that would decide it for you what you would be doing or achieving or whatever. And most of the time kids don't like it. Even in the best place, like I met her nephews in Finland, and all of them, they don't like schools. And number 6, your value is measured by the grading system, which is, in my opinion, is very abusive and doesn't really measure the value or how much a child can contribute to the world.
Yeah, so basically, your value comes from your performance. So basically, how well you are performing according to someone else's standards. Though.
Yeah.
So there is a standard set, what is good performance, and someone else put that in place. And that's where our value comes from. Even as adults, we end up measuring our self-worth and value based on outside standards.
Yeah.
And this is extremely harmful for
Exactly,
the growth
yeah.
of our souls and our, our creativity.
Yeah, and to give you a life example from our life when we started tapping into what we like to offer to the world, like the workshop that we do, the retreats, like all of these things, we're like so uncertain, and we're having like a lot of time, a lot of difficulty of like, oh, we quit our day job, and now we are like in this uncertainty of like putting something completely new out there, and feeling so uncertain and so insecure at the beginning a few years ago, how we're gonna sustain ourselves financially, and are we worthy not working as we used to work before. So all this uncertainty and all this like insecurity come from this old programming that your worth only measured by grades and measured by
I believe that this is the main
system.
reason behind why so many people are after success, wanting to be successful. It's actually trying to feel your own worth, trying to be as worthy as possible, because once you feel those, tick all the boxes for what is successful in society, then we feel like, now I got this. But in the process, we end up bulldozing our true nature and impulses. So, for example, if you're a gardener by heart or an artist, but that's not viewed as successful in society,
Yeah.
you might completely sacrifice that and become a businessman.
Or a lawyer. Before going to number 7, does any of those resonate with you? If so, let us know in the comment below. We'd love to hear if any of this applies to you in your life. Number 7, we learned that what we really want is not important, and therefore, as children, we are not important.
And this plays very strongly to the previous point as well, where we end up feeling worthless. No one asks us, what do we really want? What do
Yeah.
I desire? Hey, what is it that sparks you?
Yeah, and
No
this,
one cares.
and this really kills the moving forward. It kills this excitement about life. Like if you're not really connecting to what really brings joy for you, or bring connection, or bring aliveness to you.
And this is a huge boundary violation, actually, where I have something that is uniquely me that I want, and someone tells me, you can't have that. I will
Yeah.
tell you what you must do. And this is where I don't get to have my boundary, actually. And actually, this takes me directly to the point number 8, which is, I am not an individual. I don't get to be my own person. Because if I know what I want and I get to go in that direction and explore who I am, this is being myself, this is being an individual. But instead, I don't get to have that boundary. You know, as a child, I don't get to say, I don't want to learn this. I don't care about history. I don't want to spend hours on this. That's a boundary.
Yeah.
And we are forced to violate that boundary.
And again, you can see how this manifested in the worldly situation that we have right now.
Yeah. Being an individual is being unique, is being connected to what drives you from the inside out. It is being connected to the universal love, really. And this sounds so cheesy, but that's what the school system disconnects us from, is connection to ourselves. And if we understand that we are not really separate, we're part of the whole, through the connection to self, we actually connect to the one, which is the whole,
And
the
that's
universe.
the real oneness, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in order to connect to this sense of oneness and the universe, we need to be connected to ourselves. And this is where the school system cuts us off from ourselves and therefore from the universe.
And this is why we need a new, completely way of teaching our kids. And this is what we see, this is what we hope for the new earth, is that we are opt out of the traditional school system and create something new based on what the child actually needs, where is the boundary of the child, what they really like to do, what brings them joy.
Allowing them
Yeah.
to unfold, and we can marvel them with awe and reverence. Wow, this being, this
Beautiful
soul has
miracle,
come here,
yeah.
and we want to know what this soul is here to express and to contribute and to
And
teach us.
help.
You know, this is the reason why I would never, ever, ever put my child in a state school.
Our child.
Hand them over to the state, because they
Yeah.
don't have their best interest. I'm not telling you what to do, but this is just us. So the result of all these things that school teaches us, when we finally get out, the result is that we have totally lost touch with what brings us joy, what we're curious about.
Yeah.
So we feel just lost,
Yeah.
you know, just latching on to anything that feels familiar.
It's so common that when people finish their school, they go to university, and when they finish university, they just go to work or look for a job. Like it feels like everything is so programmed.
Yeah, and this is, you know, because if you've lost touch with your unique talents and gifts and joy and curiosity, you will not know what to do, and therefore
Yeah.
that's why so many people end up taking a job. So someone tells them what to do.
Yeah.
This is the result.
And many of the clients that work with us mostly focus on finding their purpose. Most people, they are disconnected so much from their purpose, and we rarely see this with kids who had homeschooling or never been to school. Actually,
Yeah.
the children who never been to school are so connected to what they want to do.
Oh
in the
my
world.
gosh, it's
Yeah,
amazing
so
to witness
different.
them.
Yeah.
And you know, another thing here is we end up being afraid of authority, because as kids, the teachers and the authority did have power over us. So now we still believe that, and we end up being really afraid to
Yeah.
do something wrong. Someone might punish us.
Or even to say no to unlawful laws that imposed on
Yeah.
us, like what's happening right now.
Absolutely. And we also end up measuring ourselves against others. So, you know, like we end up competing instead of collaborating, instead of being like, wow, you're like that, you're different, and I'm like this. oh, cool, how can we co-create something beautiful?
Yeah.
We're like competing as if we are still in school, measured by numbers, who is the best. And as we mentioned already, another result is that we end up staying around in unhealthy relationship environments, unhealthy work situations that we're not happy in, because we don't know that we can change it. And we just feel unworthy. And of course, a big part of this comes from our families as well. It's not only the school system. But a big reason is that our
Family actually went to school.
they went through the same freaking programming. So
Yeah.
that's why they carry the same imprinting.
Yeah, and it's up to us guys to do the work and to change those dynamics. Like for us, we've been working on this so much to really deprogram ourselves and remove all this old beliefs and old programming that doesn't serve us anymore.
Yeah.
And it's been a work, like it
Oh my
would really
gosh.
work, but it's so worth it. Yeah.
Come closer because it's getting a bit dark. We hope you can still see us.
Oh, did we disappear?
Yeah. So wow, we are not gonna go through the solutions in this video because it's already a bit long.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of videos about trauma healing, about deprogramming, about
Finding your power, connecting to your true mission. So check our channel. There's amazing more videos waiting for
Yes,
you.
and we're gonna make
subscribe
more.
if you haven't yet. And see you in the next one.
yes, much love.
Love you guys.